If you find yourself on the verge of burnout again and again, or you feel like your work tasks take up all of your time in your life, this video is here to help. We are going to go over how to set life and business non-negotiables so you can better protect your time and your energy.
We use this term a lot in our business, non-negotiables, and it's just something that is not open to debate or modification, like having cinnamon rolls every single week of my life.
That's a non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
And it really comes down to this question: what will you protect above all else so that you can remain at your best? And how do you plan on protecting those things? So here's the visual that I like to think about. Asking the question, what matters to you, right? So maybe in this example, it's your creativity or it's your health. Maybe it's things like your sleep, very important, or your coffee time in the morning, or date nights out at restaurants with your spouse. All of these things are your sacred stuff, and that's basically a non-negotiable. But we also need to basically create a boundary around that sacred stuff, which are also a part of your non-negotiables. We love this quote from Elizabeth Gilbert. She says, "A boundary is a golden circle that you draw around the things that matter to you, and you say everything inside the circle is sacred." So sacred stuff and boundaries, all of it is part of your non-negotiables. To put this more simply, your non-negotiables are the things you consider sacred, plus the things you always do and the things you never do in order to protect them. In this video, we are going to go over 3 types of non-negotiables. So you have your energy non-negotiables, your time non-negotiables, and your business non-negotiables. And to put that into context from our previous example, basically your energy non-negotiables are going to protect you and your energy. Your time protects your life areas or priorities, the things you want to spend your time on, and your business non-negotiables really protect your culture and the way you want to run your business. So let's start with energy non-negotiables. We're going to tell you a system for creating these in your own life and business. When it comes to your life energy, what is sacred? And then what are some things you'll always do to protect that? And what are some things you'll never do in order to protect that? That's how you can write your own non-negotiable. So we're just going to come up with a couple of examples here. Let's say 8 hours of sleep, that's sacred to my energy. So some rules or non-negotiables I would write for myself are always be in bed by 10 p.m.
Unless there's a really good show on. Then keep watching the show, then go to bed.
That's not what a non-negotiable is, Jason.
Oh, got it. See, that was a test and I failed.
That's right. And then things you'll never do. Maybe you'll never look at work after 7 p.m. That's my own rule for myself because my brain keeps going. Maybe you want to say that your daily alone time is what's sacred to you in order to maintain your energy. So always start the day with 15 minutes alone would be a rule for you. And never share rooms on a friend trip. I wrote this as an example, but listen, this is how you write your non-negotiables. You say, I need alone time. So if I'm going to do a trip with other people, I just need to make sure I have accommodations by myself.
Unless they're bunk beds, then I think it's probably okay because bunk beds are awesome. You know, that's a non-negotiable of a non-negotiable.
That can be your non-negotiable.
Absolutely.
And then finally, let's say in order to maintain your life energy, you consider daily fun to be sacred. Always ask with every project, how can this be more fun? And then never say yes to collaboration projects that don't feel fun. And so these are just rules that you would write for yourself. And we encourage you to basically take out a sheet of paper and write these 3 columns to write these for your energy.
Now, some examples for how we manage our own life energy. The first thing would be recharge time.
That's a non-negotiable for us. For example, when we go back to our hometown for the holidays, we have both of our families there and there's a lot of people who want to see us, but we build in full days where we see no one and our families know that. And it's because we need that recharge time in order to bring our best selves to those events.
Another example is when it comes to social connections. So we only do these based on wants, not shoulds, because we've gotten older now and we can choose what we want to do.
Exactly. And it's fine. You just politely decline. If you know that it's not a friendship that's going to be a lasting or deep friendship, it's okay. You can decline.
And our final example here is just 8 hours of sleep. Has to be a non-negotiable for us. We got to get our bedtime routine right. Got to read on the Kindle. Got to get the eye mask. You get the room set to the right temperature. And you just make sure that you're getting in bed at a good time and you're getting those 8 hours of quality sleep.
Now moving on to our second category of non-negotiables, your time non-negotiables. So how are you protecting your schedule and spending time on the things that matter to you? You're going to do the exact same activity. Write down these 3 columns. So for example, what is sacred? Maybe date nights are sacred to your schedule. So you would always plan a date night every other week or never invite others to a date night. That could be your rule. It's just the 2 of us.
Unless you have a very interesting relationship with other people who always come to your date nights. That's up to you. Listen, this is your life non-negotiable things with your time.
That's right. So maybe another example could be, okay, my art practice is sacred to me. So things that I'll always do is to always try and carve out at least 15 minutes at the end of the day to be creative in some way. And then things I'll never do is I'll never miss 3 days in a row of creating. So you see how that one is actually gives a little bit more wiggle room. You understand that maybe you're not going to be able to do it every day, but your hard non-negotiable is just you never let 3 days go by without creating. And then finally, maybe as an example, your kids' activities are your schedule non-negotiable. So you're always going to schedule those first on the calendar, and you're going to block work around that. And you're never going to schedule calls or work projects during that time. And that's a way of protecting that time with your kids, which is what you consider to be sacred.
And again, some examples for us. So one thing for us every single week is Saturday movie nights.
That is our biggest non-negotiable.
We hunker down on the couch, we put the blankets over our head. And for us, the difference between this image here is that we are eating that popcorn
That's
actively.
right.
You
It's
would
too
not
far
leave
away.
that popcorn on the table. We would be eating it.
It's honestly offensive.
And another thing that's always on our schedule is 10 minutes of movement at a minimum. And this is something that you've been doing for a very long time
Very
now.
long time. Well,
which is touching the treadmill with your paw is what I'm saying
Well,
specifically.
you don't need this rule because you have no problem going into the gym for an hour. I, on the other hand, find motivation very hard. So for me, having a non-negotiable be such a low bar at 10 minutes of exercise, sometimes if it's a day where I'm not feeling it, I can be this dog just like putting a paw on the treadmill. But that non-negotiable 10 minutes is really important to keep the daily habit alive.
And then one that we did this year was we prioritized working on our second business, Teachery, which is an online course platform, every Friday. So we carved out non-negotiable time on our calendar every single Friday, and we've gotten more done working on Teachery in the past 5 years this year because we had that time prioritized every single Friday on our calendars as a non-negotiable.
And finally, our third category, your business non-negotiable. So when it comes to your business, again, you're going to write down what is sacred, and then you're going to have your always and your never. So let's just say, for an example, in my business, communication is what I consider to be sacred. So maybe my rule is always have weekly all hands team meetings so that we can communicate. All hands.
These are all
I got
hands.
It's a joke. And then never kick off a new project without looping in the whole team. Another example could be, okay, in my business, team happiness is actually what's sacred. So maybe I always offer unlimited vacation to our team members.
Can I get a job?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And then never expect replies outside of working hours. And maybe there are some exceptions for specific projects that are extremely deadline driven, but in general, never expect replies outside of working hours. And that's how you keep the team happy. And then finally, another example could be, for me, client and customer connection. That is the sacred thing. So I'm always going to welcome, let's say, a new customer with a personalized voice note. And then I'm never going to actually use an automated customer service chatbot. That's just a hard rule that I've created. You can see how these examples are really about identifying what's sacred and then developing boundaries around that so that you can protect it. And then finally, make sure that you do this for your business non-negotiables as well.
And some final examples here. So for us, we do monthly coaching sessions. We never teach from something that we haven't done. So we always teach from our own experience. Like, we don't use TikTok, so we're not going to create a coaching session on how to use TikTok. A non-negotiable for us is that it has to be fun. Why run a business for yourself if it's not going to be fun? That's one of our mottos. So we throw glitter on every single project that we work on in some way, shape, or form.
You would never allow that.
This is true. I would not allow it. But virtual glitter, in my
Yes.
mind, is something we are
Metaphorical
sprinkling on every project.
Definitely. And also this idea of committing to the season that we're in. So that's a non-negotiable for us. If we ahead of time decide this is going to be a season of content, we're going to follow through on that. Or this is a season of saying yes to a bunch of opportunities, we're going to say yes. Or the same goes for saying no. This is a season where we're not going to do any speaking gigs or podcast interviews, and we really commit to that after we have set that as our intention.
And we want you to remember that always and never non-negotiables aren't about creating rigid or stifling rules to restrict your own freedom. They are about protecting what's sacred with clear boundaries, that golden circle.
We hope the tips in this video will help you establish your energy non-negotiables, your time non-negotiables, and your business non-negotiables. Thanks for watching our Calm Business Encyclopedia series, your A to Z guide for running a business that's predictable, profitable, and peaceful. If you want to find out how calm your business currently is, take our Calm Business quiz over at wanderingaimfully.com/score and get personalized ideas on how to reduce the chaos, stop scrambling for income, and end the cycle of burnout once and for all.
Calm Biz Quiz.